Hey, how's it going? It's Nick from Just the Man Them. Recently, Namco announced Tekken Bloodlines, a Tekken anime Netflix series that focuses on the upbringing of Jin Kazama. Even though we are now in Tekken 7, Jin's upbringing takes place between Tekken 2 and 3. This is where the Tekken series had a time skip for those who don't know, one of 19 years. Jin was conceived by the union of Jun Kazama and Kazuya Mishima during the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2. At the end of Tekken 2, with Kazuya being dead and Heihachi being a bit of a dick, Tekken needed a new protagonist, so the storyline jumped 19 years to allow Jin Kazama to become a man. So if you're upset that all your Tekken 1 mains are old like I am, Jin Kazama is the guy to blame. Tekken Bloodlines will focus on the time skip from what we've seen. We'll see Jin's training with his mother June, the aftermath of her encounter with Ogre, and Jin being trained by his father Heihachi Mishima, leading to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, also known as Tekken 3. And while that's a brief idea of what Jin was doing during the time skip, what about the rest of the cast? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to go through the Tekken 2 cast to see what they were doing during the 19-year time skip. Now, before I go on, I've got to say this. Namco are known for being, let's say, flaky with their Tekken canon. Tekken 7 retconned a few things. On average, I'll say that in this video, at least things are 90% accurate. But feel free to comment on anything you feel that I got totally wrong. Also, I'm working on my own fan-made story for Tekken 8. I've posted character prologues on my channel for every character, so check it out if you're interested in that kind of thing. First, we'll look at the characters linked directly to the Mishima Zaibatsu, and then we'll look at the rest.
Heihachi Mishima.
Heihachi won the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2, defeating his son Kazuya, and he threw that guy into a volcano. Yeah, Kazuya's totally dead and is never coming back. Well, that's what Tekken 3 wants you to think anyway. Taking back control of his empire, Heihachi made a considerable effort to clean the Zaibatsu's ruthless image. He had established the Tekken Force in order to bring peace to the world, gathering support of the world's leaders, all while secretly plotting for ultimate power. And by this I mean Ogre.
Kazuya Mishima.
I just said Kazuya lost to his father and was supposedly killed off. Just before then, he had some sort of encounter with Jun Kazama, and the rest is history. Kazuya won't be around for this tournament, and I don't expect to see much of him in this series either. Maybe in flashbacks or so, but he's not going to directly be in the storyline.
Jun Kazama.
One of the more important but mysterious characters of the entire franchise, Jun failed to free Kazuya from the devil gene and left the tournament pregnant instead. Now this next part is somewhat being retconned by Namco. Originally there was no devil gene per se. The devil was an independent spirit who Kazuya had made a deal with. You can see the two separate entities in Kazuya's Tekken 2 ending. In this version, after Kazuya is defeated, the devil needing a new host attempts to use Jun's unborn baby who has Kazuya's blood. However, the devil is defeated by Jun. Knowing that the devil is after her son, Jun raised her son in seclusion where she could use her mystic powers to expel the evil spirit. Notice that Jin only becomes inflicted with the devil's mark after Jun is no longer around. We're guessing that Jun's special powers stop the devil from claiming her son somehow. This is all in mystery. Hopefully this series will clear that up.
Nina Williams. Anna Williams.
After being captured by the Mishima Zaibatsu, Nina was entered into cryosleep, with the Zaibatsu conducting all kinds of experiments on her.
You wanna try me, Gov?
Meanwhile, Anna let this all happen. Her own request was that she also go into cryosleep and only be awakened at the exact same time as Nina, as she did not want Nina to be and look younger than her. I'm not entirely sure if that last part is true, but I did read that somewhere. The old cryosleep storyline was just made to make sure that Nina and Anna both remained looking young. Nobody likes Christmas cake.
Michelle Chang.
Julia Chan.
Michelle was basically chilling during the time skip. She adopted a child named Julia and taught her their history as well as martial arts. Michelle's story has always been about this unique pendant, it being the key to some unknown power, a power that both Heihachi and Kazuya wanted. At the end of Tekken 2, you can see that Michelle threw the pendant down the bottom of a lake. However, we can assume that it was eventually found by Heihachi's men, because it's that pendant which was the key to releasing Ogre many years later.
Li Jiao Wei.
Believe it or not, Lee worked with Kazuya in Tekken 2. However, when Heihachi took back control, he banished Lee from the Zaibatsu altogether, so Lee went off and did his own thing. We'll find out much later that he founded his robotics company, but I doubt you'll see him in this series, as he's not in Tekken 3. Now, for the non-Mishima cast. Paul continued to compete in other fighting tournaments, becoming a world-renowned fighter. It's implied that he won pretty much every tournament he competed in. The only tournament he hasn't won is the King of Iron Fist. He was also undefeated in Tekken 2. My personal headcanon is that he and Heihachi were the last two fighters standing during the tournament, and they were supposed to face each other, with the runner of that match facing Kazuya. Unfortunately, Paul being Paul, he got stuck in a traffic jam before the fight, so he lost by forfeit.
Martial law.
Forest Law.
During the time skip, martial law focused on his businesses and family. That meant running the martial dojo as well as raising his son, Forest Law. During this time, his son, Forest, grew from a boy to a man. Inspired by his father, as well as family friend Paul Phoenix, Forest Law becomes a fighter in his own right. Lastly, during the latter end of the time skip, martial law would open up his own Chinese restaurant chain. Unfortunately, if you follow the storyline afterwards, it doesn't last that long. King 1 and King 2, yes. Did you know there were two kings in the Tekken storyline? And no, I'm not talking about Armor King. The first king competed in Tekken 1 and 2. He mainly entered tournaments to raise money for his orphanage. Today's king was a child from that said orphanage. Somehow I haven't really spoken about Ogre yet. Well, when Ogre was released to the world, he attacked many of the world's strongest fighters. Originally, it was implied that he had killed off the entire Tekken 2 cast who wasn't in Tekken 3, unless explicitly stated otherwise, such as Kazuya for example. That's why Ogre's original moveset is basically made up of the unlockable Tekken 2 cast. People like Lee, Bruce, Wang. Anyway, even though most of those guys came back, Ogre did kill the original king. That is confirmed. And today's king was trained by the original Armor King to take the original king's place. Yes, that is a very confusing sentence, but I'm not repeating it again.
Yoshimitsu.
We don't know too much about Yoshimitsu's antics between Tekken 2 and 3. Still, we know that he was close with Dr. Boskonovich, who he had rescued from captivity at the second tournament. Eventually, Dr. B would fall ill to some strange disease, and that's why they entered Tekken 3.
Lei Oolong.
Lei was super busy during this time skip. He was solving international crimes, earning him the title Super Cop. Lei Wulong had such a reputation that Heihachi Mishima himself paid a personal visit to Lei to inquire about the disappearing fighters worldwide.
Kuma.
Much like King, did you know there were two Kumas in Tekken? The first one died. Apparently bears don't live that long, so the Kuma we have today is actually Kuma Jr. The first Kuma also hated Paul. This Kuma hates Paul, but seems to be a family thing.
Armor King.
Not much is known about what Armor King was up to for much of the time skip. After Ogre was released, Armor King eventually heard of the death of King 1 by Ogre's hands. Hearing this, he, Armor King, heads to King 1's orphanage and agreed to train the young man who would become King 2.
Jack 2.
Jack 2 was destroyed by Dr. Abel, a rival scientist to Dr. B. Jane, a girl rescued by Jack 2, you can see this in the Tekken 2 ending, fell in love with Jack or some weird shit like that, so she will spend this time learning robotics to make future Jacks. Eventually this will lead to Gun Jack and the rest of the Jacks in the Tekken series.
Peiku Tosan.
After being defeated for attacking random dojos during the tournament, Bake mellowed the hell out and started a Taekwondo school of his own. Eventually he would train Horang, but Bake would also fall victim to Ogre as he was attacked by him and fell into a coma.
Gangryu.
After being rejected by Michelle Chang, Gangryu moved to Hawaii and opened up his own sumo stable.
Bruce Irving.
During Kazuya's downfall, it was arranged that Bruce should be silenced by a plane crash because reasons. Anyway, he survives or something and ends up in survival school. Probably because he survived. Not gonna lie here, Bruce is the weirdest storyline in all of Tekken. It's very inconsistent.
Kunimitsu.
More than anyone, Kunimitsu was canonically out of the picture for the longest time. However, based on Tekken 7, we learned that during the time skip, she married a shinobi ninja and gave birth to a daughter. That's the Kunimitsu in Tekken 2. And that's it. That's most of the Tekken 2 cast. There are people like Roger and Alex, but I mean, Roger got married. Yes, a kangaroo got married. Had Roger Jr. He was in Tekken 5. Who else is there? Alex, he went somewhere. Angel pretty much died or something. I mean, Kazuya died, and yeah, they kind of retconned her deal. She was supposed to represent Kazuya's good side, but I mean, that's like gone totally. And I think that's everyone in Tekken 2. Prototype Jack, whatever. Yeah, so this is Tekken Timeskip. Hope you enjoyed this video, and there should be more stuff coming your way soon. Peace out.